Okay, good evening. 7 p.m. This is Tuesday, the 10th of January, 2023. Let me make sure I'm recording here. And Melissa, good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
There you go. Let me just starting here, so let me share my screen and get kind of set up, and then we'll get into it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. This is LDR 300, Fundamentals of Leadership. The textbook is the Richard Daft 8th edition called The Leadership Experience. You'll see here that I've got a note below on the Moodle page that says, be sure that you read, notate, highlight. Yes, highlight. Otherwise, hold on to this text as you will use this material in any future LDR courses. In fact, we draw heavily on them, and especially so if you take the LDR 490 capstone leadership course. Everything that you will have after LDR 300 draws back to this text. As much as you can pull out of this, the better for it. This is a good text to have. It has the baselines, the basics. It has the fundamental models, principles, and concepts that go into leadership as we anticipate leadership as a contingency, meaning a situational leadership. So think it like a toolbox, and inside that toolbox are the various tools that you need. It's always good to have a variety. Yes, you can do anything with a saw, hammer, and a screwdriver, but you sometimes may want to have a more precision instrument. And it's the same thing here with this textbook. Excuse me. In this textbook, you will find it's broken out in very easy to understand chapters. It lays out what we're going to do in this course. Match that with the syllabus so that you can understand where we're heading, not unlike seeing the forest for the trees. Sometimes I encourage the students to take a step back before you dive into the text. Take a look at the syllabus of where the chapters lead us and what is happening and how we go about it. It's not so much critical that we hit each and every step that the textbook requires, but it does provide a good framework and it allows you to see where we're heading. Your first couple chapters are a broad overview and lay out some of the fundamentals, some of the history, and then we'll start pulling apart. For some of you, many of you have been in my management 311 course. You're going to find material very similar. In fact, we're going to repeat some things. Yes, you're going to see Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yes, you're going to see Herzberg's two-factor theory. Yes, you're going to hear me talk about path goal theory. These are things that are fundamental to leadership and management. In your first discussion question for this week, in fact, one of the two, I'm going to ask you to see if you can demonstrate to me a distinction, if you will, between management and leadership as you understand it. Do you have to read the text to answer the question? No, but it helps. Keep going. You're fine. Sorry, I just had to help an assistant here. Okay. So again, I encourage you, if you have the electronic version, that's fine too. Just be able to know you can work with the text. I provide the page numbers with the assignments, so there is no confusion. Just understand that the electronic version may page out differently, if that's a verb. If there's any question or confusion, please let me know up front. All right, somebody else is trying to join, so let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to ask everybody if you're okay uh, that I am recording this. It will publish on Moodle, and I promise not to share any personal information that gets anybody in trouble. All right, so we've had some announcements. If you go into the announcements section right underneath the text, welcome. Told you need the textbook. This went out on the 2nd of January. As Moodle, or I'm sorry, as University of Mount Olive does, they'll grant you access to the Moodle shell for your course a week before the course starts. That hopefully gives you enough time to get the textbook get settled in. I understand that the bookstore didn't do many favors this time around. Excuse me. And some of you are still waiting for the textbook, and I understand that, and I will work with you. I'll speak more on that in just a minute. You'll see that I posted the syllabus. Very important that you all read the syllabus and acknowledge it. I ask that you do that tonight. And then the week 1 assignment instructions covers what is due this week. Normally, I will put those out on the week prior, usually on a Thursday. You'll see our battle rhythm, if you will. You'll see our sequence of on how we do some things, and I'll cover that here in just a minute as well. All right. So as we go into the next section, you'll see this syllabus. You'll see the introduce yourselves form. Many of you have caught that. I appreciate everybody's participation and let me know. I ask something you all are famous for, and a lot of you say you're cooking. I wish this was a seated class so I could enjoy some of that, but be that as it may, I appreciate everybody sharing who you are. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner my information and my philosophy, if you will, and you'll see that below in the one of the tiles that says Professor Contact Information. You'll see my curricula vitae if you are interested. I'm a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel. I retired in 2007 after 26 years, 10 months, and a number of days, but who was counting? And I'm the son of a Marine, and I've married a Marine. So we tend to say Semper Fi a lot in our family. And then we have, I've been working as a DoD contractor for the Joint Staff for over 15 years now. I've been teaching here at University of Mount Olive for over 10 years. So we've done this a number of times, and I always get more out of you than you get out of me. I will say that up front. I appreciate everybody's candor and your ability to work through and share, okay, because that's what a lot of this course is about. I ask that we use the normal courtesies and decorum that one would expect in a seated class. We treat people with respect and get the same in return. The introduction and forum, introduce yourselves forum is followed rapidly by ask for help. Some of you have inquired as to the issue of not having a text. I will tell you up front that right now you're behind. If you do not have the text, I ask that you will read this section here that I've titled Some of You Inquired on No Textbook. I lay out essentially what we'll do. I'll ask that you read that first, and then if you need to continue to contact me on the situation, I'll ask that you do that. Just basically, in a nutshell, I need to know when you think you're going to get the textbook, and then our first priority will have you demonstrate that you can hit the timelines of the chapter that we happen to be on that week, chapters, and then we'll talk about making up work. I'll let you know that University of Mount Olive policy is typically there is no late work accepted, no makeup work, no extra credit work. That said, the dean has given us adjunct instructors certain latitudes in case of exigencies. An exigency is something clearly beyond your control. So if the bookstore has not gotten the textbook to you, that I consider an exigency, and I'll work with you. Okay. The bottom line is my job is to get you through this. If we're not having some fun while we do some of this, we're doing it wrong. And I will assure you, though, my job is to get you through it. You'll need to do the work. The only way you fail my course is if you don't turn in the work, if you don't do the work. And that's pretty cut and dry. The rest of this is very upfront, and I don't throw any curveballs, I don't think. Some of my former students, like Melissa, can nod her head if I'm telling you a pathological lie, but I generally try to do it straight up with you. If there is an issue that you find either with the textbook, with the course, or with me personally, I will certainly ask that you contact me and let's work through it. First, if it needs to be elevated, we'll certainly do that. But I think we can figure this all out. The Zoom session's only going to go tonight for about 30 to 40 minutes. We get cut off usually because I talk too much. So I'm going to try to wrap some of this up. Suffice it to say that if you found the Zoom session, you found that this is not mandatory. This is purely for your benefit. It is an opportunity for you to address the instructor or fellow students. Before I open it up, though, I did want to take time to mention a little bit about the syllabus. Like I earlier said, there is an acknowledgement of the syllabus section in week 1. If you go to the week 1 tile, you see on my screen acceptance of the syllabus. Note carefully, you're asked to provide the statement. There's a sample there where you can simply just cut and paste that if you wish. Some of you, last time I had you in class, you did even followed by full student name, which was funny. I appreciate your humor. And but I knew who you were. So I'm going to ask that everybody take care of that tonight before 23:59 or 11:59 p.m. if you are not on 24-hour clock. That's 1 minute before midnight on Tuesday, the 10th of January. If you are unable to do that, please let me know. And certainly let's get it done before tomorrow. All right. I have to take attendance based on that. It's a non-graded event. All you have to do is just tell me that you acknowledge the syllabus and the requirement, and you have completed your actions. The discussion forum for this week, you'll see that every week I will post 1 to 2 questions. They will show up in blue. This week you have 2 discussion questions, and they do not require the text to answer because I have taught this course a few times and understand how it works on people not getting their textbook. So this is 1 week you get a little bit of a buy. I will tell you that normally and in future work, as much as you can bring in a concept from the text to reinforce your answer to these questions, the better. That's the purpose of my asking the question. We have to figure out how you can demonstrate mastery of the course. The way you demonstrate mastery of the course is by demonstrating you understand the concepts of the text. So in any question, any homework that you turn in certainly in your paper that's due, as much as you can bring a concept or 3 into your work, the better. That said, I don't want you regurgitating the text to me. I've read it. It's a good text. I think Mr. Daft is a good author. What I want to hear and see is what you think, you personally. So, provide me some of you. If you do not agree with the instructor, that's fine. We don't have to agree on everything. If you don't agree with the author, that's fine. Just remember the fundamental relationship, the one that matters the most, is your conclusion and the evidence you use to support that. So if you make a statement of agreement or disagreement, then part of what I'm looking for is what evidence you're going to give me that supports your position. Okay. All right. From there, you answer those questions. I ask you to do your initial post on Wednesday nights. That's tomorrow. And then provide feedback to 2 fellow students, at least 2 minimum, and do that before Friday night. Okay. We're going to do that every week. So you'll get 2 questions, answer them on Wednesday, provide feedback to 2 fellow students by Friday at the latest. And then on Saturday, you will have a summary report to submit. These are based on exercises in the book. They are called Leadership Self-Insight. And these are titled Know Yourself. The Know Yourself piece to this is you're going to take a series of exercises based on the concepts that you learned in the text. You're going to submit that to me, again, highlighting those concepts and then some of you in this, whether you agree or not agree with the results of that exercise. How do those results apply to you? How do you think they'll enhance your ability to lead others? Is this going to create value for you in your career, whether it's something you're anticipating doing or something you're doing now? Okay. So this is your time for a self-exam and to round out your insights into the principles that are going to be taught in this course and what you want to retain and apply in your own life. Just understand that those are due on Saturday. Those build, and your final paper is going to draw from the results that you've done on these summary reports. Not all of them. You're going to pick a few and tell me in a framework of strengths and weaknesses. But these self-insight examples are important because it's an opportunity for you to find yourself. And then two, this is what's going to help inform your final paper. More on that later. We'll talk the final paper as we get into it. And you have a quiz. You're going to have a quiz each week. These are timed. They're done through Moodle. You get one shot at the quiz. So please try to make sure when you take the quiz, you're in a place where you won't be interrupted. I will open the quiz at noon on Wednesdays. You will have until Sunday at 3 p.m., 1500 on Sunday, to have the quiz done. Anytime between noon on Wednesday and, well, I'd say 1400 or 2 p.m. on Sunday, because each exam is going to take about an hour. It's about 45 minutes, I think, is what I give you. So they're timed. Please do not try to take the exam 10 minutes before 3 p.m. on Sunday, because you'll get 10 minutes and then it's going to grade the rest, whether you've answered the questions or not. So make sure if you wait until Sunday afternoon to give yourself time. These quizzes are not cumulative. They will only cover the chapters we covered that week. So the week one quiz will be chapters 1 and 2. You are allowed to use the text. You're allowed to use the exercises. You can use the PowerPoint slides. If you look on my screen below the quiz for each week, you will find a folder that I provided PowerPoint slides for each chapter, kind of a Cliff Note version, if you will, to assist, and any other required reading assignments for your quiz. The one thing I will ask you not to do is to try to collaborate with your fellow students. This is your work. All right. So you may use the text, exercises, PowerPoints, reading assignments, but please do not use your fellow student. If you have read the course material and take the exam, you will have time. 45 minutes doesn't sound like much, but you can do it. If you wait and try to read the text at the time you're taking the quiz, you're going to run out of time. Okay, so just a word to the wise. The purpose of the quiz is, in fact, to just make sure, in part, that you're doing the reading. Okay, so I've talked quite a bit here. I'm going to open this up to Melissa, Michelle, and anybody else that has a particular question.
I know the paper isn't due until week 8. But I noticed it said we're gonna have to have a visual.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I already know your question, I think. I apologize for cutting you off. Right, so I've kept that in the syllabus because it's required. For the seated classes, there will be a visual presentation. We're not a seated class, we're online. So no, you will not have to do a presentation. You will just do the paper. Does
Okay.
that answer where
Good
you were at with it?
question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, let me mention something here on that paper. You will see that Moodle will accept that paper tonight. You can have it done tonight if you wish. you don't have to wait until March the 5th to have the paper done. Okay. I certainly encourage people to work on it as you're going through the class, but you don't have to wait until the last minute. As I said, you've got to use these insight exercises to do the paper. So yeah, a little bit of a misnomer for me to tell you you can turn it in tonight, but and I won't grade it until the paper is past its due time. The problem that we get as adjunct instructors is that we need to give you until the last day of the class to get the paper in, which again is Sunday, 5th of March. We then have to grade your papers and have your final grades ready by Tuesday. That means if I'm going to give you a chance to see what your grade is, I've got to get it to you on Monday. That means I'm grading all your papers. And right now I have 33 of you. So that's 33 papers I'm going to be reading. And I will assure you, I read your papers. I read each and every one of them. I read them twice. And that they flow and they are sound in context and structure and rhetoric. I'm not an English major, but if they have misspellings or grammatical errors, I'll catch them. Capitalization, adherence to APA. The second reading is I'll go in and look at the effectiveness of your paper. If it covered the materials required and how well you presented your case. The case in this particular instance is you, okay? And whether you were effective in how you presented, what your strengths and weaknesses, what characteristics you would like to change, what the process of going through this has taught you, and the like. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to, like I said, devote some time, but I cannot handle any delays in the final paper, if that makes sense. We're going to have them turned in on time. If there is a issue that prevents you from turning it in on time, then we need to try to work that out before the 5th of March. Okay. And we'll talk more on the paper. It's not that hard. And Melissa, I think, will vouch. If it's pretty straightforward, and it's should not be any surprises. Let's put it that way. Okay. Anybody else have a question? This is excellent. Good. Gives me a chance to talk some more. Huh? Okay. So let's talk about contact. If you've got an issue, we like you to try to use the Ask for Help form. The Ask for Help form is there for your use. Post your question there because there may be another student who can answer it for you or be able to assist you. If you've got a question or a concern and you don't necessarily want your instructor to weigh in, I can certainly not if that's what you want. But this is more routine, non-emergency. You can certainly ask for assistance from me in this and general questions about the course, the syllabus, the assignments. If you need if you need contact within 24-hour period, we say 24 hours, then I'm going to ask that you email me and I provide my email address. Okay. So if you email me, we ask that you give me 24 hours to respond. I'll usually do a little better than that. But that's kind of the guideline. If you need an answer within 2 hours, that means this is an emergency, something of urgency, then I give you my text and cell phone number. Okay. And I will try to respond within 2 hours. Now, if you text me at 3 a.m, I might be a little cranky, but I'll try to respond within 2 hours. Okay. So I can't imagine anybody having that kind of emergency, but if there is one, please, I ask you to feel free to contact. Just try to gauge it out as to what kind of timeline you need a response on. If it's an issue of Moodle, you're not able to access Moodle, you're not able to pull up something, I'm going to generally ask you to use the help desk because that's what I'm going to do. I do not control Moodle. I'm at its limits just as you are. There are some things I may need to fix if I don't have I didn't have the timeline right on something and one of you caught it. I appreciated that. But if it's, like a passport reset, you can do that through the self-service Moodle. I'm sorry, Melissa, did you have your hand up for a question? Oh, okay. Sorry. I saw you waving there. I thought I'd done something. Anyway, does this make sense? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right. So what do you have? You have 2 questions here to answer. All right, in the discussion forum. Once you've posted those answers tomorrow night before 23:59. On Thursday, usually late morning, early afternoon, I will respond to your post. That doesn't prevent any student from giving you feedback as well. Certainly, if you need to wait until Friday to post on others, feel free to do so. But to get the full participation grade, you have to, at a minimum, make your posts on time and do a minimum of 2 posts on fellow students. If you want to do better, certainly feel free to post on as many as you want. Okay, because again, that's the beauty of this course is we've got 30 of us. We all see things a little differently. And the issue of leadership is such that given the same situation, I might address it in a different manner than you. That doesn't mean I'm wrong and you're right. Doesn't mean you're right and I'm wrong. It just means we have a different look at how we think we can make an influence to best get an outcome. So that's it. Okay, about 7:30. Time for just a couple more questions or a last minute aw shucks, if you got them, before we get cut off. Okay. Melissa, are you graduating this year or you still got a few more courses?
No, I still have more to do.
Okay. So when we have students that are graduating, that final paper timeline becomes even more critical. In fact, we have to provide feedback to the dean usually a couple days before that paper is due. If there's a student having trouble or not, that's at risk and as part of graduation. So just be cognizant that if not in the spring, like we're in spring session now, those sessions that bump up against the graduation tend to be a little bit, I guess, require a little bit more coordination, if you will, in case somebody's having any issues. Okay. All right. So yeah, we're going to, it's telling me we're going to end in 10 minutes. We'll keep going if, yes. Okay. Low resources. I get you. Melissa, since you were a previous student, were you able to access your grades? In other words, did you find the feedback on the gradings that I gave you?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. They weren't hidden or hard to find. Okay.
No,
So,
I mean, I didn't have any problems finding them.
great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So if you turn in work, I'm going to grade it. That's your first form of feedback is the grade. Okay. So if you get a 98 on something out of 100, it really isn't going to do you much good to ask me what you did wrong because you did a phenomenal job. If you got a 98 out of 100, that's pretty good. So I'm going to ask you kind of, take that in stride. If you need more feedback, I will typically provide some. I will give you some insights on what I was looking for the answer. I will provide, if you didn't answer the right question, We had that in the last course where we had some people do the wrong exercises. Hey, if you do the wrong exercise, I'll try to work with you, but I can't give you full credit for doing a wrong exercise. That's just not going to happen. So make sure you're clear on what's the assignment is. Let's talk about it if we need to. And then I will provide some feedback. If you need more than what I provide, then certainly feel free to contact me and we'll talk it through either through email or by phone, or we can even do it here on Zoom. The one area you're not going to get as much feedback as you used to is on the quizzes. There has been some concern within the Tillman School of Business that there has been some cheating going on. So the feedback functions that we typically, or I typically would put into the quizzes, which would tell you what question you got right or wrong and why, and what page number you'd find the right answer, is not going to appear. You're going to get your score. But if you need to talk about the exam more, a particular question, then we're going to have to do it one-on-one. And I'm happy to do that with you. The real issue on the quizzes, just so you know, if 3/4 of the class misses a question, I will automatically review that to see if the question was worded correctly and what the issue was. If I have to throw out a question, I will, but I will only throw out a question if more than 3/4 of the class miss it. And I have not had that ever happen. So I'm not anticipating your class to be the first. Just means we watch how we ask these questions. But in the end, we just want to make sure that they're fair. I usually do not throw you a curveball on the questions. They're usually straightforward. They're usually a mix of true, false, and best answer. And again, I'll just ask that you do your homework. Okay.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Sure.
I noticed for the quizzes this time around with you, we have to download something, because I did this like 2 classes or 3 classes ago. They had us do it the same, and I had such problems with downloading it. It was awful. I just want to make sure.
There should not be a download. What'll happen is you're going to get a banner that pops, and you have to agree to the academic integrity policy. So what'll happen is when you get set to take the quiz, it's essentially downloading the policy statement that says, I agree not to cheat, plagiarize, words to that effect. There should be a hot button there that you click and say, yes, I agree. And then that takes you into the quiz. Should not have to have you download anything.
Can you bring it up? I mean, just the quiz, not the quiz, just the screen. Because I
might be able to. Let's try. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do this. If I go into the quiz,
not like go in, just
that's the best way
right
for me to show you, I think, listeners, if I go in. So if I try it,
yeah, like that whole download that is what.
Yeah, that should not cause you to download anything. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
like I
sorry.
said,
I got you. Yes. Okay. So
it was a
it's the
nightmare.
Safe Exam browser. Okay. That's a good point. I'm going to ask you probably, if you can, give me some insight on like an email of what you found and what you had to do. Were you able to successfully do it?
Eventually, it was, I mean, the professor worked with me because I just could not. It took me a long time to get it to work.
Okay.
So
Great
when I
heads up.
saw that for this, I was like, oh no, here it is again. So
yeah, this is part of that requirement that that Tillman School of Business put on us. Okay. Normally what should only pop is you try the exam. This is the statement that I was mentioning on my screen.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes.
I understand it's important that the attempt I'm about to make is my own work, does not constitute plagiarism, cheating. I will not undertake such activities. You have to click that, start attempt,
Right.
should be able to take the exam
Okay.
without downloading anything.
Okay.
See what you're talking about here. You should have a safe exam browser already on your computer if you've already
Okay.
done it. So
Okay.
I'm going to say try to take the quiz. You won't have preview. You'll have, take quiz now or whatever. It's
Okay.
preview because I wrote the quiz.
Right.
And then you'll get this. You have to click I read and agree to the statement
Right.
and start attempt.
Okay.
Yeah, Safe Exam Browser was part of the changes that we had to make. And
Okay.
I don't know if we fully worked through those. So my apology that it was a nightmare.
It was.
I think we're all trying to cope with it as
Mhm.
best we can. So,
Okay.
all right.
I'll just make sure I do it earlier than later.
Well,
In case I do
yes,
have.
I'm hopeful that you've been through it once, you don't have to do it again. So
Okay.
hopefully you'll be able to do it. So
Okay. Thank you.
I think Safe Exam Browser probably, if it's a current version, if people are working current version of Chrome or similar, it should be fine. I don't know if anybody's going to try it on Internet Explorer, which is not supported anymore, which means, it may not be considered a safe exam browser anymore. I don't know. And just we'll have to
Okay.
see. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, 7:39. I'm going to let it go unless anybody has anything. All right. I wish you all, less than a minute. So I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a joyous New Year. I look forward to working with you. I'm awful happy to have you in class. And like I said, if we don't have some fun with this, we're doing something wrong. So good luck, and let's have the next 2 months together. Okay.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Great for joining us. Good night.
Good night.